Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay.
Hello everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to day 19 of the holiday card series for 2022. Today is a live version of the holiday card series. So we're going to get into some really fun, really easy watercolor cards. In fact, I kind of have a series going on my YouTube channel where I use minimal supplies, meaning I only use like a children's watercolor set and very few other supplies to create watercolor cards. And that is what today's video is all about. I'm going to be using a Crayola watercolor set. I've got a few other supplies. In fact, let's go through the supplies that you'll need right now to create all three, yes, three holiday cards in today's video. So I'm going to switch to my overhead real quick. All right, so these are optional down here. We're just going to talk about the stuff up here for now. You're going to need watercolor paints and a brush. Most children's sets has a brush in the set itself. I'm going to try to use that one today, so hopefully that'll go well. You're going to need a pencil and eraser. I've got a pencil here. Here's my eraser. You're going to need watercolor paper. Now, if you don't have watercolor paper, you can create the cards. However, you're going to have a much better result if you do use watercolor paper. So I actually recommend, let me grab the paper that I used today. And I really recommend this type of watercolor paper a lot. This is Canson XL Watercolor Paper. And depending on where you buy it, it might have a different cover. But Canson XL watercolor paper is a great kind of introductory watercolor paper. You can even sometimes find it at Walmart or Target. You can get it at Amazon. It's really great, and I recommend it, especially if you're just starting out and just want to do a few watercolor cards. You're going to need a white paint or a white marker. Today I'm going to be using Liquitex Acrylic Gouache. I've never really used it much, but I'm intrigued. And so I thought I'd try that out today. But you could definitely just use a white marker or any other white acrylic paint that you might have. And you'll also need a white gel pen. Now, what we're going to be doing with a white gel pen, you probably could get away with using a black marker or a black pen. Now, optional down here, oh, I forgot, paper towels. You're going to need paper towels and a cup of water. I always forget those because with watercoloring, that's a given. You're going to need a towel or a rag and a cup of water. Optional, I might bring some of these in, I might not, I'm not sure. Masking tape to mask off an area, a black marker, metallic paints, and a heat tool. I will be using a heat tool today just because it will speed up the drying process. These are the supplies you're going to need for today's cards, and I'm going to be doing 3 cards. So I'm going to kind of get these out of the way here for a minute and also zoom out. And I've got my watercolor paper already here, and I've actually scored it. You don't have to score it because this paper actually folds pretty well, but I scored it. And also just because I want to make sure that you can actually see what I'm working with on camera, I'm going to put a piece of paper over the back of the card. When you're creating your cards, I recommend working with your paper flat. You don't want it folded while you're working on it. It's just so much easier to work on it when it's flat. And in person, when you're working on your card, you'll be able to see where the center of your card is or where you folded it. You're just going to fold it and then unfold it and work flat. But since this is on camera and we can't really tell exactly where that is, I'm just going to tape this to the back of the card just so, I can just work on this one section, if that makes sense. So, all right, we're going to do a little bit of sketching with our pencil. And our first card is really, really simple. We're just going to be painting a tree, and we're going to color it, paint it with some really great colors, and let it dry, and we're going to come back to it later. So I'm planning to have a greeting down here at the bottom. So I'm going to start my tree, the bottom of the tree, maybe about right here. I'm just going to draw a line. And I'm also going to find where the center of the card is. I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be completely center. About right there. And then I'm just going to connect that with a straight line. It doesn't have to be straight because this is going to be a little bit of a wonky tree anyway. But we're just creating a nice triangle shape, right? You're gonna take your eraser, and if you have any really dark pencil areas, you'll want to just erase that. I'm just lightly rubbing my eraser over that area. It's just taking away a little bit of the pencil, not all of it. We still want to be able to see what we're doing. All right, over here with my watercolor set, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna put a piece of paper back here just so I can see exactly what I'm doing. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna move myself over here so you can see the palette. Okay, so we're gonna mix some colors, because one way that you can make a really simple children's watercolor set like this look more expensive is by mixing your own colors. So we're doing a tree. I thought I would do maybe like teal and purple and pink. I thought that would be kind of pretty, kind of for like a non-traditional card. So we're first going to make our teal. I already had my watercolor paints a little bit wet. Let's make our teal color up here. So I'm bringing some green over, and then I'm also going to bring in some blue, and that's what's going to mix and make it a nice teal shade. Right now it's looking very, very green. So I'm going to bring in some more blue. And now it's starting to look a little bit more on the teal side, to me anyway. About like that. Let's get all of our colors mixed and ready to go before we start painting. So a purple, a nice purple shade. So my purple down here, I am almost at the bottom of the pan of color, but that's okay. This is a very, very bright purple. It's not like a blue purple. It's very, very violet, I would say. But I do like those two colors together. I think it's gonna be really pretty. And then as far as having a pink, I'm gonna bring over this red. In fact, maybe we'll just do straight red, because pink really is a result, when you're watercoloring, it's a result of using a red and diluting it with lots of water. So we'll just use those three colors. I think that could be really, really pretty. All right, so I'm going to come over to my tree here, and I'm going to start painting. Let's see, let's start with the teal shade. And hold on, I got to move this like this because I am right-handed, and I want to like put my hand down on the table to stabilize while I paint. So I'm going to just bring that in right there. I'm just going to paint this corner. Just get that moving. Clean off my brush. And then I'm going to grab the purple. In fact, I'm going to grab some more straight from the palette. And I'm just going to start bringing it in right here. And I want it to kind of overlap that teal color. We're getting some nice color mixing there in the center. Bring some more purple right up at the top. And then this last little corner down here, I'm going to bring in the red. Just going to paint that all the way down to the corner. In fact, I'll bring the red maybe a little in over here. We just want the color mixing to happen a little bit more. You know, let's bring some of this down. And I can even grab some of this teal. I'm just going to bring the teal up here at the top. Just because I love how those colors are mixing. Okay. I'm going to bring the purple right here because I don't like that big, huge patch of red. I want it to be a little different. Okay. We're going to stop here. It's starting to mix a little too much and kind of create like a muddy color. So we're going to stop. We're not going to move on. And for the painting anyway. And I'm going to dry this with my heat tool. So now I thought for this card, just to make it look a little bit more Christmassy and more like a tree, we're going to take, you could either use a white paint or a metallic paint for this. I'm actually going to use some gold paint. This is Liquitex Acrylic Gouache in Iridescent Bright Gold. Okay, and as I get closer to the top, I'm going to make my little ornaments just a little bit smaller. I'm going to take a little bit of that gold, and I'm just going to, I'm going to put just a little trunk down here at the bottom. It's a little trunk. It's not entirely centered, but that's okay. And then I'm going to try to do just a little star up here. I think with a slightly stiffer brush, it would be easier to do. All right, all we have to do is put on our greeting, and I'm just going to really space out the letters. That's kind of a stylized little trick that I think looks awesome. Ta-da! Okay. Not entirely centered, but that's okay. We're making a handmade card today. All right, so here's card number 2. I'm gonna go ahead and put that piece of cardstock blocking the back half just so we focus on the front of the card. And on this one, we're doing another tree. We're doing 3 trees today. This next one is slightly more involved, but still very, very simple. And we're just gonna draw a tree. And this time we want the tree to be pretty big on the card. So I'm going to draw a line here at the bottom. And I'm going to try to eyeball where the center is again, right there. In fact, if you've got a piece of paper nearby, like I'll be using this in a minute, I'm going to use it to draw a straight line. Just like that. And I'll use it over here. In fact, you know what? Let's just use it at the bottom too. Let's get a straight line all around. Okay. And then we're using it like a ruler apparently. Okay, so we have this really big tree shape. We're going to kind of block off sections of this tree to paint with different patterns and colors. So I'm just going to block off this right here. And you want kind of like different sizes. Like this is one section. You've got a skinny section, another one right here. There we go. That looks like a good amount. So you're just going to section it off, and then you can paint each one individually. Now I'm going to, before I start painting in different colors, I'm going to try to think ahead. Like, okay, what are some good kind of patterns that I can put in here? So I think I'm going to have maybe like a cat eye pattern right here in the center. Like just like ovals almost. And it can be really like freeform. It does not have to be precise. I think I'll do some like kind of like stripes right there. I'll come across and do a little bit of this. That spaced out pretty well. And then let's do a squiggle. Let's do like a little squiggle and then maybe a little segment like that. So we're just going to be painting each one of these sections in different colors, and we're going to make it really colorful and fun. let's just see if it's gonna work well or not. It works pretty well. I think it'd be really fun if you have any of those like YOOHO watercolors or metallic colorful paints to do this with the colorful paints. I think that would be amazing. But I was planning to have the grading go right across the middle on a piece of like, it would be black with the white grading. So I have this little scrap of watercolor paper from when I cut down my card bases. And I'm just going to, let's see, I think I'm using this for both of my last two cards. So I'm going to take this black Sharpie marker and I'm just going to start coloring my watercolor paper. And I'm just going to do just capital letters with my white gel pen. I'm going to test the white gel pen, make sure it's working. If yours isn't working well, you can sometimes like kind of warm up the tip on your finger. Let's get that off. And it will start to get the ink flowing. So this was just going to say Happy Holidays. Okay. And for the next one, we might as well just write it for this next card too. I'm thinking like a Merry Christmas would be nice. So let's just do Merry Christmas. This is a number 10 Jelly Roll pen. It's kind of my favorite Jelly Roll pen. Okay. And then, let's see, let's get that centered. Or centered a little bit more anyway. All right. So there is card number 2. I think that turned out really cute. It's very playful, very colorful. Okay, so for this card, we're going to be painting more of the entire card front. So we're going to do a little bit of planning. I want to have a little bit of a white border around the card itself. So I'm going to use my pencil, and this can even be a little bit of a wonky line if you want. We just want to map out where the border will be. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to have a big tree in the center, but there is going to be like a white snowbank at the bottom. So I'm first going to draw my little snowbank. Ta-da! And then we're going to draw the trunk of our tree. So we want it kind of in the center, about right there. And it's going to come down to kind of midway on the snowbank itself. So I'm just going to use, you can use a ruler or the edge of your cardstock. I've got this little edge here left over from what I was using before. So I'm just going to connect my 2 dots. So I have what will be the trunk of my tree. I want the bottom of the tree to be a little bit above the snowbank. So maybe starting right there, and I'll just draw the bottom of my tree right there. And then I'm just connect the edge of the corners, just like I did on the last tree. We'll just connect those. All right, we're gonna add some detail to the center of the tree. So I am drawing these lines pretty dark. I am going to erase them here in a minute, or erase most of them anyway. So let's see here. What we're gonna do is we want to have almost like drawing on really modern branches. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little dot right on each edge. You kind of want them to be directly across from each other, but we're going to connect it down to this right here. So be right there and right there. Okay, and then we're going to go up about that same distance, you know, from there to there and there to there. Kind of come across. I'm just eyeballing this. And we're also going to now bring up this point to right here. So basically you've got 3 points going directly across. And then we'll just connect those. Actually, doing it from the points really doesn't work. Probably would have been better just to go like that, going up. Whatever. I'm gonna eyeball it now. You just want these lines to be parallel. About like that. And then I'll come over here. Just want those lines to be parallel. Ta-da! Okay, so here's our really basic tree. I'm gonna take my eraser and kind of really lightly go over it. I don't want to erase it completely. I just want to get rid of any like really dark spots. So the plan is we're going to have the background be a light blue sky, and then the tree itself will be a pale green. So let's just go ahead and get started here. For the lines on the tree, I thought it'd be really fun to make it white. So we have some options for the Merry Christmas. I was going to put it right across the center, but I think it could go at the bottom too, like right below on what I was thinking would be a snowbank. In fact, I almost want to do little things of snow, but I will refrain. I will contain myself. So here are all three cards. I love how they turned out. Someone in the live chat said it looked like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, a grown-up Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Have to agree. I think that's a great description. I love how all three of these turned out. They're the same yet different. I think that's a good description. So thanks so much for watching today. Let's see, a Christmas question for all of you. Are you done with your Christmas shopping? If you are a Christmas gift giver, are you done with your shopping? And if you are, and it's safe to say what you bought, what is the one gift you're most excited to give to someone this year? If the person that you're giving it to might be watching and they might see your comment, I would advise you to not say exactly what it is, but you could say who you bought it for. I think that'd be kind of fun. So tell me in the comments the gift you're most excited to give this year. And yeah, that's it. I will see you guys on Monday for day 20. Oh my word, December is just flying by. Day 20 of the holiday card series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.